Hashtag I ain't gonna cheat on you no more too. Hashtag Keela's eulogy. The last laugh. Pastor Marvin Miller adjusted his microphone and cleared his throat. At this time, the family has asked that the wife of the deceased, Mrs. Keela Booker, come forth to say a few words. The sanctuary got quiet. Keela stood up from the front pew in a fire engine red wrap dress, red bottom heels, and a wide-brim black hat with a red feather that curved so dramatically it almost knocked the flower arrangement off the casket as she walked past it. She didn't even flinch. She took the podium, smoothed the front of her dress, looked out at the packed church, and smiled like she had been waiting on this moment her entire married life. First of all, she said into the microphone, I want to thank everybody for coming out today to celebrate the life and the considerable extracurricular activities of my late husband Elton John Booker. Scattered laughter. Now, I was told to keep this brief. I was told to keep this dignified. She paused. I told whoever told me that to mind their business. The church erupted. Keela held up one manicured finger. Elton John was a man of many talents. And I do mean many. She looked directly at the 3 rows on the left side of the church that were packed with women nobody seemed to know. Some of you in this building know his talents better than I do. And that's okay. That's okay, baby. We gon' get to all of that. Ms. Aline, Elton John's mother, grabbed her chest from the family pew. Keela kept going. Elton John Booker was born 43 years ago, right here in Greer, South Carolina. Grew up in this community. Went to school in this community. Got married in this community. She smiled sweetly. And cheated on me all through this community. The mourners hollered. Somebody's auntie dropped her program. Now, I want to be fair to this man because the Lord said be fair. Keela pressed her lips together like she was trying. Elton John was a good provider. He kept the lights on. He kept food on the table. He kept gas in my car. She tilted her head. He also kept a Motel 6 rewards card with platinum status, which I only found out about when they sent the annual summary to our house. In December. As a Christmas card. Screaming. Platinum. Somebody hollered from the back. That's right. Platinum. Which means my husband was not casually cheating. My husband was committed to cheating. He had loyalty points for cheating. She gripped the podium. Elton John Booker was cheating like it was a career with benefits and a 401k. Pastor Miller covered his mouth. He was shaking. He was a man of God and he was shaking. Ms. Aline stood up. This is a disgrace. Marvin, you need to shut this down right now. Sit down, Ms. Aline. No fewer than 15 women said it simultaneously. Keela never broke stride. Now, as many of you know, Elton John was found last Tuesday morning at the Holiday Inn Express on Wade Hampton Boulevard. Room 214. She let that sit. He was found by a woman. We don't know which woman because 3 of them had key cards to that same room on that same night. Apparently there was a scheduling conflict. She blinked. Management said it wasn't the first time. The church sounded like a revival. Feet stomping. People fanning. One older gentleman was laughing so hard he had to be patted on the back. And whoever it was that wrote on that mirror, Keela pointed toward heaven. I want you to know. I see you, sis. I ain't gonna cheat on you no more was not just a message. That was a prophecy. And it has been fulfilled. A woman in the back screamed. Fulfilled, honey. Now. Keela smoothed her dress again. I know you all came here expecting to view Elton John in the casket my children picked out. That gorgeous mahogany, gold-handled casket. She nodded respectfully toward her 4 teenagers sitting stiff and wide-eyed in the front pew. Mama loves y'all. And I mean no disrespect to what y'all chose. It was beautiful. It was tasteful. She paused. But I am not putting your daddy in a $9,000 casket when he spent that same amount at the Marriott last fiscal year. I checked the credit card statements. I had time. Gasps mixed with uncontrollable laughter. Mama, her oldest started. Keela held up a hand without even looking. Additionally, she continued, calm as a Sunday morning, the Armani suit my babies bought for their father's burial has been returned. For store credit. Which I will be using on myself. Because I deserve it. Somebody passed out. Not from grief. From laughing. Now wait just a minute. Miss Aline was on her feet again, finger pointed, voice shaking. "Where is my son? What have you done with my son, Keela?" Keela turned from the podium and looked at her mother-in-law with the patience of a saint and the eyes of a woman who had been done wrong for 15 years. "Miss Aline." Her voice dropped to something almost gentle. "Elton John has been donated to science." The sanctuary went absolutely, completely, historically unhinged. "Donated to science. Keela Booker." Keela turned back to the microphone. "Specifically," she said, raising her voice above the chaos, "I have requested that they study his libido. Because whatever was going on with that man was medically significant and the world deserves to understand it. They need to know. For the good of humanity." Pastor Miller knocked his own Bible off the pulpit. He didn't pick it up. He couldn't. His whole body was heaving. "I have been legally advised," Keela said, pulling a folded paper from her clutch like she was reading a grocery list, "that donating the body of a deceased spouse does not require the consent of the deceased family. I looked it up." She refolded the paper neatly. "I looked up a lot of things last Tuesday. I had nothing but time." Ms. Aline snatched her purse and pointed at her daughter-in-law. "You are going to hell, Keela Booker?" "Maybe so," Keela called back cheerfully. "But I'll be rested when I get there." The mourners, the real mourners, the friends, the cousins, the co-workers who had suspected, they were completely gone. Holding each other. Wiping tears. Doubled over in pews. Keela straightened her hat, smoothed her dress one final time, and looked back out at the congregation with the serene expression of a woman who had finally, gotten the last word. "Elton John Booker," she said softly into the mic, "you were something else, baby. You truly were." She clicked her tongue once. "Rest where they put you." She stepped away from the podium, walked back down the aisle in those red bottoms, and never looked back once. Pastor Miller gripped the pulpit, composed himself as best he could, cleared his throat 3 full times and opened his mouth. "Let us pray," he said. His voice cracked on the second word.